Hello Halo fans, it's your boy 107 here, and I want to address a couple comments I've got in my last video where I talked about 343 Industries and how kind of the mismanagement of Halo Infinite has turned it into a dead game. Now the premise of that entire video was to show that it wasn't entirely 343 Industries' fault. There was so many other reasons behind it, but it was specifically the idea that because of Halo being now so competitive and competitive focused, it negates the whole entire group of people that actually want to play it. Without this fun and more leaning into competitiveness, people have less fun playing the game. This is why when you have games like Rainbow Six Siege, people will always say they absolutely hate the game, even though that they are basically addicted to the game. Now, I've been enjoying reading a bunch of people's comments because there's a lot of input that I like to read, a lot of stuff that, it's very negative, and a lot of it was one guy in specifics and a couple other people said that the entire video, the 19-minute video, could be wrapped up in one word: 343 Industries. That is why Halo is a dead game. Now, I just want to clarify the fact that no, that is not what I was saying. Now, I never said that in the video. I never said that 343 Industries was the reason why Halo Infinite is a dead game. And I say dead game in quotations because Halo Infinite is clearly not a dead game. There is enough people on the game that play it concurrently on Xbox and on PC to show that, yeah, it's not a dead game. Even though I have a Halo on PC and Xbox, and I mostly play it on Xbox as well, and I've been a passionate kind of believer that more people that play Halo are playing it on Xbox rather than PC. Less people would get PC to play the game. Less people would play the game on PC unless they just kind of just want to try it. PC is one where it's understandable where there's an underperformance because it is a Xbox game mainly focused, and that's where its fan base usually stands. Now, I never said in the video that the reason why Halo is a quote-unquote dead game is because of 343 Industries. And in fact, I never say that. I never say that 343 Industries is the reason why Halo is a failure. And I don't think Halo's a failure, but a lot of people like to suggest it. A lot of people like to say it. A lot of people like to say that the game's dead. So, just gonna clear that up. I personally don't think it's a failure. I personally don't think it's a dead game, but a lot of people like to say it is. A lot of people like to accuse it of being and blame 343 Industries. And I don't believe it's 343 Industries. And in fact, I'm one of the only creators that I can think of that advocate for Halo and 343 Industries. I see Mint Blitz, who has lots of hope for 343 Industries, but he doesn't trust them that much. Same thing with Hidden Xperia. Same thing with Installation 00. Same thing with Ringleader on TikTok. But I believe in 343 Industries. Maybe that's hopium, maybe that's some copium, but I genuinely believe in 343 Industries. What I don't believe in is Microsoft, and that's one thing that I've advocated since the beginning. Now, I try to word things specifically in my TikTok videos and in my YouTube videos so that you, the viewer, can understand yourself through the facts and logic that I give you. However, a lot of people don't listen to certain parts and the facts and the logic that I give them and nitpick certain parts of it and create their own conclusions, or don't listen to the full video to get the full understanding. So allow me to explain it fully in your face like you are a kindergartner. Microsoft abuses their power as the owners of Halo and 343 Industries. Every issue 343 has done that majorly affected Halo and its reputation was because of pressure from Microsoft. Aside from the obvious art style change in Halo 4, which in certain cases, like the armor, I think Master Chief's armor is fucking badass. I think that Halo 3 and Halo Infinite are way better, but I think this armor is still really cool, and I would have wished that it was a different armor and that it had actual lore reasons and not just nanomachines and magic, because that's just a bullshit way to explain it. But for Halo 4, Microsoft pressured 343 Industries to make the multiplayer more similar to Call of Duty to better compete in the competitive industry, which is something that has been very known for very many years, is that Microsoft wanted to compete with Call of Duty, because at this time, 2012, Call of Duty was on the rise, and Call of Duty had a multiplayer that was very competitive and was very focused towards having an edge and having metas. And so Microsoft wanted to lean into that market and better compete against them with Halo 4. And it wasn't Halo. The multiplayer was not Halo. It was not as good as it could have been. It is definitely one of the worst, if not the worst, multiplayer in Halo history. But 343 Industries had full control over the campaign, and they did it very well. I personally believe it is the 6th best story in the franchise, hands down. Halo 4, definitely number 6. Moving forward from Halo 4, Halo 5 The horrible writing was due to Microsoft scrapping every story to get a story that they basically wrote. This is one thing that was big, and I've seen a lot of videos, especially from Hidden Xperia, talking about it, where the trailer videos we were getting The Hunt, The Truth, Master Chief in a poncho, all that stuff was amazing. 10 out of 10 trailers. I think that was the second best run of trailers in the entire Halo franchise, second only to the Believe trailers for Halo 3. But the issue was, that was completely different from the game we got. And allegedly, from rumors and leaks from the inside, and to lots of other sources I know, Microsoft was scrapping the story over and over and over and over again because they didn't like it enough. And it's the same thing that happens with Disney and the writers at Disney. It's the same thing that happens there. They write a story, like for Black Panther, they write a story, it's a good story, they don't like it because it doesn't meet a certain quota. Halo 5, I don't know if there was a quotas issue. I don't know if it was diversity issue, because in 2016 was kind of the era that, modern politics was getting on the rise. I don't know if that was any of the issues then, but what I do know for sure is that they were scrapping the campaign and replacing it with a new one and new stories over and over and over again, to the point where the campaign was so rushed. Like, mind you, Halo 4 came out in 2012. Halo 5 came out in 2015. That is only 3 years. 3 years. And mind you, Halo Infinite was like 6 years. So it's a bit of a gap there. It's a bit of a difference. Obviously, there was also Halo Wars 3 or Halo Wars 2 in the middle of there, but that was being developed by a different studio. So it's, kind of iffy. But because of them scrapping this campaign, the Halo 5 campaign, over and over and over and over and over again, they released an unfinished game due to having to remake the game so many times. So the multiplayer was unfinished, and the campaign was rushed and very shit. And then on top of that, Microsoft wanted to compete with the gaming industry again. But 343 had pushback. They wanted to return the multiplayer to the original kind of Halo 3 multiplayer, the good kind of the actual Halo Fair Start multiplayer. And the issue was, Microsoft didn't want to. Microsoft wanted the advanced movement to be leaned in more because, again, in 2015, this is the time of like Black Ops 3, this is the time of Titanfall 2 kind of era. So advanced movement was like the thing at this time. So they wanted to have advanced movement for Halo 5 to compete with those games. And look what happened to it. It was not Halo. That was one of the biggest gripes with it. It was the advanced movement. Now, the multiplayer was very fun, it was very authentic, 343 Industries did a great job with it. They did definitely fix the issues that they had with Halo 4, but because of Microsoft wanting to compete with the other gaming franchises at this time, it caused the game to have more frustration with it. You see, this is one thing that no Bungie fan or obsessed Bungie fan will ever mention, but during the time of Halo CE, Halo 2, and Halo 3, Halo was a passion project for not only just Bungie, but also Microsoft. And when Bungie wanted to leave, they wanted to leave and make its own franchise, a new franchise called Destiny. And Microsoft, Bungie wanted to take Halo with them, but Microsoft said, no, we own this. So Microsoft had hired and made a new studio, 343 Industries, to help work on it. But they were going to plan to just scrap Halo after Halo 3 and have the games die off then, because they didn't believe that the game could continue. However, Bonnie Ross convinced them otherwise. Nobody ever mentions this because nobody understands that. People like to think that Halo was revived by Microsoft and forced like a corpse. No, it was not. It was pitched, it was just barely scrapped and revived by Bonnie Ross, and I hate Bonnie Ross, but she kind of saved the franchise from death and then also killed it at the same time. Back to Halo 5. We had that OG type feeling with the good starts and stuff, multiplayer, and it was a very fun multiplayer too, but the skill-based matchmaking was so tight. It is the tightest skill-based matchmaking in any Halo game, and it's so competitive. Like, you get on, you have to sweat, you have to be competitive. And on top of that, the rec packs. The rec packs were a direct order by Microsoft so they can make even more money off the game, because guess what? It's 2016. Everybody's getting extra money, more money, because of in-game microtransactions. So Halo 5, had to do the same because that was the industry that it's a part of. Now, the rec packs were very stupid because you only get certain pieces of armor, so the only way you can get armor customization is by buying a loot box, but then also at the same time, you had to buy loot boxes for this certain game mode, Warzone, which was extremely fun, by the way, except for the fact that you had to buy your weapons for it. So if you could just like play the game and get points in the game and then buy weapons with points in the game, that would have been more fun than having to actually use your money and buy weapons, which is just completely a pay-to-win game mode. And it was flamed on. Everyone hated it. And Halo 5 had one of the worst releases because of all these issues. And again, I can't stress this enough. This was Microsoft's decision. It wasn't as much as 343 Industries. But during this time of Halo 4 and 5, 343 Industries did hire people that hated Halo, but it wasn't hated Halo so they wanted to make a game to drive it in the ground. They hated Halo so they wanted to make their own game using the same franchise. And guess who is from that same era of Halo that was working on the Halo TV show? Kiki Wolfkill. Now, this is the part that I hate of the Halo TV show. We've got so many people saying the Halo TV show is good. Well, it's not, because it is made by people that hate Halo and that don't understand Halo. And I think I've seen so many Bungie stands say, yeah, you know what, the Halo TV show is whatever. It's not Halo, but I'll watch it. It's like, yeah, you'll watch it, but you will refuse to play Halo Infinite. You will shit on Halo Infinite every second you get. That makes no sense, but you do you, my friend. You do you. Speaking of Halo Infinite, the game took 6 years to release. There was a lot of development issues. It was very hard to work on the Swift Space engine. They took a lot of years to build the Swift Space engine to move on from Blam, but the engine kind of sucked and it had a hard time and it was very frustrating to work with. So they basically were struggling the entire time. That's why updates and releases and of new content and stuff is taken so much longer than it did with Halo 5 when the multiplayer released unfinished, because it's just so much harder to work with it, which is unfortunate. And it is a sad backfire. That isn't necessarily, oh, 343 is trying to kill Halo. That was just an oopsies. We fucked up. Which I personally say as that's understandable. I get that. But fix it next time. If you make the same mistake the next time, fuck you guys. But they shouldn't make this mistake again. And there's rumors that they're going to be working with Unreal Engine, which is going to be amazing because everyone knows Unreal Engine, and the game is going to be fucking beautiful after that, because then you know for a fact the game is going to be releasing top notch. But because of the game being free to play, they made so much money from the rec packs that they could basically uphold the Halo Infinite servers using that money. But the issue is they definitely shouldn't have. They should have taken that money and they should have put it into making the game better. They should have had a bigger studio, they should have had more people working on it, and they should have more people working on it right now. Unfortunately, that's not what they did. They did and decided to make it free to play so they can get more players. Now, when I talk about more players, I mean they had 20 million downloads and 20 million concurrent players at one point. That means that it is the most played Halo game of all time, just for reference. So you're calling Halo Infinite a dead game, even though it was the most popular Halo game of all time. Had 20 million downloads, which in reference, Halo 3 had like 14 million. So like, that's a lot. And that was just obviously because of the free-to-play. And a lot of people, because how the free-to-play was laid out, you know, they didn't want to play the campaign. And again, I've made videos on it. Play the campaign. It's not that hard. It's $70, but it's like the best campaign ever. It's number 5 in the Halo campaigns. You heard me before. Come on, you just play it. Just play it. But again, the Microsoft, they made all these delays. They made all these issues with the 8-month intervals of contractors. It was just a shit show. So the multiplayer was unfinished. They focused on the campaign, which was good, but they kept getting the campaign scrapped again from Microsoft. And because of the contractors and because of Microsoft scrapping everything, morale was at such a low point. If you're working a job and it's basically like, why am I working here? Why would you want to work there? That's just genuine. Like, if you're working a job for the passion of it, but you're not getting paid enough, everything's a shit show, why would you want to stay there? And that is just genuine. Why would you want to stay there? And I understand why Joseph Staten left. I understand why a bunch of other Bungie and Halo lovers left, because why would you want to work there if it's just a shit show and like they're just abusing everybody, right? Like Mappa, the animators in Japan. Why would you want to work there? Yeah, okay, Mappa, you want to be there for the passion of Mappa because it's a big studio, but like they abuse their workers there. Why would you want to work there with abuse, right? Now, I'm not accusing Microsoft of abusing their coworkers. I'm just saying it's a toxic workplace and it is just so low morale that it's just fucking not worth working there. Now, because the multiplayer was free to play, Halo Infinite's armors were so expensive because of that, because they needed to make money off a free to play game, obviously. And then on top of that, once the money ran out to hold up the servers for Halo Infinite, they needed to be able to afford all that. So again, they had to do the bundles. Now, 343 listens to us when we begged for them to lower the prices. Bundles when it first released was like $26 for like a full set of armor. But then they were decreased, so then it was like $12, which was good. People wanted it lower, but they couldn't get it any lower. And then 343 Industries kind of left Halo Infinite for a bit because they want to focus on future projects. This means Halo 7 and Halo CE Remastered. And Microsoft took over, and the prices have gone back up. Because it's Microsoft. It's not 343 Industries. They didn't just leave and say, all right, we're going to hike up the prices and leave. No, Microsoft said, all right, if you're not going to focus on this, we're just going to hike up the prices. We're going to force you to hike up the prices. And you can't defend yourselves because you're not even working on the game. So, boom. Now, guess what happened, right? Now, obviously, I believe that the prices in the skill-based matchmaking get worse depending on the pushback from Microsoft and 343 Industries, because again, we've seen when Microsoft was where 343 was very focused on fixing and finishing the game and the multiplayer, the prices went down, there was more maps, there was more items coming into the game, and then there was also, like, the skill-based matchmaking was a little bit looser, so it was a little bit more fun and a little bit more freeing, a little bit more casual, and also at the same time, sometimes it get impossibly hard, but it wasn't too bad. I believe that skill-based matchmaking was very good. Like, I'd say 8 out of 10. But then Microsoft, because Microsoft has to be like Microsoft, obviously, once they kind of step back and 343 Industries starts to work on new projects, they swoop in, take over the game, and increase the prices, tighten the skill-based matchmaking. And I don't know why they would tighten the skill-based matchmaking. It just does that. And 343 Industries has testified that it wasn't them, so I don't understand how that would happen if it wasn't fucking Microsoft to maybe keep focusing on their competitive idea. I don't know. It makes no sense anymore, but they're doing it. But do you know what 343 did for the Halo fans? After the pushback from the art style from Halo 4 and Halo 5, which arguably wasn't a bad art style, it just wasn't Halo, they returned the OG art style. So one thing I keep seeing people that are hating on my TikTok and on the YouTube are saying that 343 ruined Halo because they changed everything. Well, they changed it back. They understood, they listened to us, they changed it back. We got the OG art style, OG weapons, we've got a couple new weapons. We need kind of missing a couple OG weapons like the plasma rifle and the plasma carbine, but I think they're going to do better in the next game. I don't think they're going to add them into Halo Infinite, but I think they're going to add them into the next game. I think they understand that they need to have those weapons, but they return the OG art style. Like if you look at the Massachusetts armor, it looks fucking amazing. I argue that the Halo Infinite armor looks almost better than the Halo 3 armor if it wasn't for the nostalgia behind the Halo 3 armor, if I'm being real. And then on top of that, it looks very similar to the Halo Reach and the Halo 3 armors. Like it looks pretty much like an actual advancement that Bungie would have probably done. Like that's how good it looks to me, at least. And then on top of that, campaign Halo Infinite was an amazing and beautiful game. It was so good that I made a video on it, and I'm gonna be making another one soon. Just kind of the beautiful events of walking in the open world, because it is so beautiful. It is such an amazing game. So please play it. But then also on top of that, they did work around the clock to fix the multiplayer. And nobody likes to mention that, but they did. And at this point, I know it's a couple years late, like 3 years too late, 2 years too late, but the multiplayer is great. It is where it should have been when it released. And actually, I'd argue at some points a little bit past that, and in some areas a little bit not so much. But it is definitely there where it should have been on release. And it is still full of a lot of content. There's billions of armor combinations. Some of them aren't so good. Some of them are really, really good. Obviously, you have to buy pieces, but you can buy pieces. You can buy certain pieces that you want. And it's only like a couple bucks, like $20 for certain things. Like, I wish they did it a little bit different with the shop, but I don't know how much that was 343 Industries or if that was Microsoft. And with the amount of times that it is Microsoft's fault, I don't know if we can accuse 343 Industry of being its fault yet. Even if it is or if it isn't, we can't really accuse them yet because Microsoft is behind a lot of this shit a lot of the time. So there's that. They fixed all the prior issues made. Now, obviously, a lot of people has a backlash because they didn't like the way they fixed it. And this is one thing that I never understood was how hypocritical these people were. 6 years ago, people were complaining that Cortana was now the bad guy. And then now, 6 years later, they're complaining that they didn't get to kill her themselves and that it wasn't a playable event. I personally enjoyed the way Halo Infinite did the story and how it was like in dust and echoes and like little tidbits of data left behind. I thought it was such a beautiful poetic story towards kind of nods towards the data and dust and echoes left behind from the installation 04 in Halo CE, but it was also such a way to show that like Cortana did sacrifice herself for us. We did go missing, but we always come back because the Master Chief always comes back. And it was just such, the way it kind of played out in the way I was playing it every single time was just so beautifully done. And I don't understand how people hate it, because like they'll just nitpick the tiniest things, like, oh, well, you know, I couldn't play through it. Like, okay, well, you're playing through it, you're seeing it go through, and if you actually pay attention, you might actually get emotional over it. But if you're just trying to gloss past it and judge it, you know, you might not like it because you're judging it, right? You don't judge a book by its cover, and that's what a lot of people just did. They just played the game to hate play it, and then they complain about it online, which is just such a frustrating thing, by the way. And sure, 343 Industries has a hard time here and there, you know, like a lot, but, and like, especially with my last video, I talked a lot about kind of nodding at 343 Industries. I did say 343 for a lot of things that I meant Microsoft for, and I said 343 Industries where it could have been Microsoft's fault, or if it was 343's fault. I know my last video was mostly a nod towards 343 to say, hey guys, could you try to fix this instead? Because if you say that to Microsoft, say, hey Microsoft, fix this about my game, they're not going to listen to you. But if you ask 343 Industries, they might listen. And that's the thing. 343 Industries needs to change the game to make it more playable and more fun. Now, was it their fault that it wasn't fun and playable? We don't know. But however, it was highly likely and allegedly Microsoft's fault that every Halo has been very competitive, because they are trying to compete with other franchises and other games. But now, Microsoft owns Call of Duty, Microsoft owns like Titanfall, Microsoft owns a bunch of the competitive games that Halo would compete with. Halo's got a free market in its own right now because Microsoft owns its competition. So basically, Xbox owns Halo's competition now, which just basically means that Halo is free to do whatever it wants. And I think if that idea can get put in the minds of 343 Industries and Microsoft, they could actually put out a very good game. Now, I want to reiterate this one last time before I go. Every issue we have had that has significantly harmed the Halo community, the former 343 employees had disclosed to us that, in fact, it was Microsoft's fault that forced 343's hand. Now, okay, I said every here. It's not every issue, but it's so common, it's so often that it's most likely every issue. And there's so many issues that we don't know if it was Microsoft or 343's fault yet. So that's still kind of floating on the table. And there was only some, like the art style changes, which was Bonnie Ross, which again, Bonnie Ross was fired and then given a higher level position in Microsoft. On top of that, Kiki Wolfkill, who's also a producer on the original Halo 4 and Halo 5, still working with Halo, by the way, but she was working with Paramount Plus on the Halo TV show. And you can see the idea and the mindset of these people who hate Halo, but they love it enough to make it their entire job. They hate it, so they want to change it and make it their own, but they love it enough so that they can ruin the franchise for the rest of us. Now, I know I rant a lot here, guys. I know I do. I talk. But I want to thank you guys so much for the thousands of views on these videos. Absolutely amazing. I never thought I could even get 1,000 on one video. I've got one video that's almost at 7,000. I'm so excited. If I can hit 10,000 views, I think I'd cry, honestly. Like, that is astronomical numbers. I want to thank you guys so very much for all this support. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you guys didn't enjoy the video, please like and subscribe anyways, because I'm thirsty for your likes and subscribes. And if we can catch up here on YouTube to my TikTok, I'm at 4,500 followers over there. I think it'll take a lot longer to catch up over here, but if we can, that would be actually amazing. Like, that'd be astronomically amazing. So please give me your support. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Give me some tips going in the future. What do you guys like to see? What do you guys like me to talk about? I do read your comments. I do read your input. Any negative comments, I'll basically kind of gloss over or make a video on, because I don't really care. It's just content. It's fun. It's to talk about. I like to talk about Halo, and I think you guys like to enjoy me yap about Halo, because why else would you be here at the end of my video? So please like and subscribe if you did enjoy. If you didn't enjoy, I don't know why you're all the way at the end of the video anymore. But if you didn't enjoy, you're going to see those people in the comment section. They're basically going to be out in their mind saying, I am wrong, and this is this, and this is that. Hey, you have every right to do so. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.